And what is going on, everybody? You're checking out an all new The RCWR Show. It is our WWE Backlash 2020 pay-per-view recap post-show, dropping live Sunday night of June the 14th, 2020. What's going on, everybody? A very well-rested Lee Sanders here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Yeah, I actually was supposed to be back earlier in the week. I said I was going to be taking Monday off. I did. I was supposed to be back either Wednesday or Thursday. Long story short, I felt a little bit burned out. If you're staying connected to me all throughout social media, you guys know exactly what I had posted all throughout social media. And I felt as if I needed to be on break just a little bit longer. And the little lady was able to convince me, well, if you're feeling a little burned out, this is usually that time you like to take a little bit of a week of a break anyway. Go ahead, take the break, enjoy yourself. So that's exactly what I had did. So this is actually the first show back since my extended break, because the last time we did a show for you guys, if I remember it right, we last were on the air, not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before, the Sunday before, where we were covering the NXT In Your House. That was the last time we were on the air, so I pretty much have been off since then. So it's great to be back. I feel very well rested. Whew, I picked an interesting time to come back because I was kind of reminded of the Backlash 2018 pay-per-view. And I remember how critical I was with regards to that pay-per-view. If you all do not remember Backlash 2018, is all I have to say. But if you want a nice little trip down memory lane, go back and peep that out when you get a free moment. Tonight, I gotta say, overall, with regards to this pay-per-view, look, with regards to what we saw tonight, the main event match, Edge, Orton, did it live up to the hype? Was it the greatest wrestling match ever? I think many would debate that. Many wrestling fanatics would debate that. Wrestling fans that have seen a lot of stuff over the decades, I think it's debatable. If you were to ask me, was it an entertaining match? Was it somewhat worthy of closing out the pay-per-view tonight? I would say yes. Under the circumstances, I would say yes. But definitely debatable for a lot of you guys. But overall, with regards to the pay-per-view card, I would have to say this is, other than Backlash 2018, I just off the break, as far as pay-per-views that just really stand out in my mind over the course of the last 10 years, I would have to say Backlash 2020 for this calendar year so far from WWE, not really one of the strongest pay-per-views so far this calendar year. I want to know what you guys think. We got the poll, as always, when we are live after a pay-per-view, asking you guys, what did you think about the pay-per-view? Sound off. We're asking you guys on Twitter at the RCWR Show. Got the poll up on there. We also are asking you guys on YouTube. Head over to youtube.com/the RCWR Show. Click on the Communities tab, and you can cast your vote that way. I'm most curious. I can tell you this much right now. We'll get to the YouTube poll later on in the show, but I am looking at what you guys are saying on Twitter, because I do want to give you guys more of the nod on Twitter. I got a lot of engagements on Twitter there, and right now I am seeing amongst our own listeners, our own followers on Twitter, we have 69% of you that are giving the pay-per-view a thumbs up. Meanwhile, 31% of you are giving it a thumbs down. Now, we did poll WWE's own respected followers on Twitter as well through the official WWE account, and I am seeing right now we have yes, I'm seeing right now we have 80% giving the pay-per-view a thumbs up. Meanwhile, 20% are giving it a thumbs down. And again, we'll take a look at that YouTube communities poll in a little bit. We're streaming live for the next little bit. We're streaming live on YouTube, also streaming on Facebook, Mixler, Twitch. Just use the keywords, the RCWR show. I do have the chat room open, so I am paying attention to what you guys are saying. So if you guys want to go in there, you know, feel free to pop in, say hello and everything. But I guess, you know, in no particular order, look, let's just go with the Edge and the Orton match, because I know we're pretty much immediately, I mean, we didn't even take a 5-minute break. We pretty much came on as soon as we saw the pay-per-view was fading to black, okay? All right, so let's just process what we just saw, right? And don't worry, we'll start with the card like we normally do from the top and work our way back, but let's just deal with that last burning image in our minds there of Edge and Orton. I gotta say, for both men, you know, given this point and where they are of their respective careers, I mean, make no mistake about it, with regards to Randy Orton, I personally feel that before he is done, I personally feel that he has at least 2, maybe possibly 3 more championship reigns left in him. That's just my personal opinion. Now, things can play out entirely differently, but I personally feel that Randy Orton, before he hangs up the boots for good, I feel that he has at least 2, maybe 3 world title reigns left in him. So I still feel he has a lot that he can offer to the business, definitely a lot to the WWE and everything. With regards to Edge, this great Cinderella comeback story, I gotta tell you, I'll never forget that moment at the Royal Rumble, seeing him come back and just, you talk about a huge shocker, you talk about a huge WTF moment, because that's exactly what that was. It was a moment. It is one of those wrestling historic moments where if you are a true wrestling fanatic or a true wrestling fan, you know, there's certain dates, there's certain years of a pay-per-view in particular that you'll remember for respected reasons, because of moments, because of, you know, be it good moments or bad moments, but most people are more so able to remember the good moments as opposed to the bad. And seeing Edge return at the Royal Rumble was definitely one of those awesome freaking moments. I know exactly where I was. It's one of those type of deals. And, you know, to just see at the point where we are right now with Edge and everything, I'm loving it. I'm loving it on so many levels. I would say the match that they did tonight, you know, this is where we kind of differ a little bit, because you're going to have the modern wrestling fans that have probably been checking out the product maybe for a year, and I'm not saying particularly WWE, but the newer wrestling fans that haven't been watching the WWE product as long as us diehards. Let's really make sure we bring this home. They're probably are going to be looking at this match, and for them, they're probably, and rightfully so, for them, they're going to be looking at this and saying, that was a really great wrestling match. Now, amongst us diehard wrestling fans, whether you're the type of wrestling fan, you make your rounds, you check out all the action from other wrestling promotions, or you have just been checking out the WWE product for decades. Your parents or whoever got you hooked onto it, you know, when they were watching it, it basically passed on to you. You're probably going to be looking at what went down tonight, and you're probably going to be saying, in all honesty, hey, it wasn't a shitty match by no means. But as far as the tagline, greatest wrestling match ever, no, that needs to go to the designated. But I think that the quicker we get our heads out of the clouds with the tag for that wrestling match, the better. I mean, this is marketing 101. We know, and I know a thing or two about marketing because I used to work in market research for 10 years. So, from a marketing standpoint, I totally understand what WWE was doing right here. Take away all the smoke and mirrors, and when you look at this Edge Orton greatest wrestling match ever, you're like, okay. So that's basically the hook. That's the bait to get the fans in the door. That's the bait to have the fans. Okay, I need to see this. This is what it's all about. That's what it is. Marketing strategy 101. That's what it is all about. Now, you take away Edge and Orton, that substance. Use a food analogy. Look at Edge and Orton as the bread, the essential bread that is holding together that cheeseburger or that gyro or gyro, whatever you want to call it. You know, without that bread, everything else just pretty much collapses. It might taste good and everything, but it don't really mean anything if you don't have that bread for it to be engulfed around, right? So take away Edge and Orton, and what do you have when you look at the card for Backlash tonight from top to bottom? What you honestly had was a pretty lackluster pay-per-view. A pretty lackluster pay-per-view, and that's the God's to honest truth. You know, I hate to say that, but we've been saying since 2011, keeping it honest, keeping it insightful, and keeping it interactive, and keeping it honest right now. By far, one of the least unimpressive pay-per-views I have seen for WWE in quite some time. And as far as the calendar year of 2020 goes, definitely not one of their brightest moments right now, I would have to say, especially considering some of the recent developments that has happened with a certain tag team that is now part of AEW. We'll get into that in just a hot minute here. Edge and Orton closing out tonight's pay-per-view event. These guys went at it for, my God, I just couldn't help but look at the clock going, all right, now, this pay-per-view came on at 7 o'clock at night. You know, what's up here? If you want to be honest, actually, technically, it really depends. The pre-show kicked off at 6 p.m. Eastern. And I want to say that the first pre-show match kicked in right around the 30-minute mark. So about 6:30 p.m. with Apollo Crews taking on Andrade. And then your actual pay-per-view card itself, it started at 7 a.m. So it really depends. If you were in front of your TV since 6 p.m., oof. If you were in front of your TV as of 7 p.m., that's still, oof, you know, that's still relatively pretty long there. But Randy Orton and Edge, this go round, they went at it. I wish I was kidding you guys. These guys went at it for at least almost 45 minutes. They went at least almost 45 minutes. I'm not bitching about the time length. I'm just giving you guys the info, because I know there's definitely a lot of you guys that probably were like, I'm going to pass on this. They went about 45 minutes. For me, much like I felt with the last match that they did, that was a bit too long. I felt that with this match tonight, it really needed to be trimmed by about 10, maybe even 15 minutes, give or take. They really poured in heavy with the audio. And look, I appreciate WWE being totally honest with us right before the introductions for this main event match. I appreciate them being honest and saying, we're going to give you guys enhanced sound. You know, we're going to give you guys really cool exclusive, you know, great post-production camera work. And I appreciate them being upfront and being transparent about it and everything. And I also appreciate the fact that what they were trying to do with this main event match, especially given the tagline, greatest wrestling match ever, I appreciate them trying to really build this up, really make it feel special, really make it feel as though you are watching something that is not only a moment in wrestling history, but building it up in such a way where, you know, this is it. This is what it's all about. This is what you're watching this for. I appreciate them trying to give us that under the circumstances. But at the same time, I kind of feel as though it's a little bit. It's a little bit. What's the right word I'm looking for? It just feels a bit tainted. That's really the right way I can kind of sum it up. Put it to you this way. You know, when I hear enhanced sound and all of that, okay, so you're gonna amplify maybe. I wasn't sure what to expect. I thought maybe they were gonna amplify the performance center athletes that's been making the crowd there these past several weeks at the shows. I thought maybe they were gonna amplify their sounds and maybe multiply it a little bit, you know, amplify it, throw in a little bit of an echo effect, maybe put in a little bit of a delay, you know, put in a little bit of reverb or something. I thought maybe they were going to kind of jazz it up a little bit and really kind of give it that surround sound. Hey, man, you definitely are not the only one that's watching this. Really make it have a atmosphere type of vibe as you're watching this match. I thought maybe that's what we were going to be getting, but if you would have told me that WWE was basically going to give 2K a call, I'm being sarcastic here, but literally, and I said this on Twitter, I said, and if you guys didn't watch this yet, you really owe it to yourselves when you get ready to watch this main event match. I said, watching this match on the TV does not do justice. You have to actually have headphones on as you're watching this match and you're listening to the sound. That's exactly what I was doing for the full 45 minutes. I was in front of the laptop getting the show together, and I'm on doing split screen, and I have the match, and I'm just listening, and I'm just hearing these things in my ears. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm like, I hear all this before. What the hell is going on? And I'm looking, somebody's fucking with the sound. You know, it almost felt as if WWE gave 2K a call and said, hey, you know how you usually do that thing with the crowd for the games? Okay, well, we need to borrow some of those sound bites or whatever and combine it with some of the stuff that we have right here and, you know, see if we can, you know, it just felt that they were going a little bit overkill with regards to the sound and everything. So kind of got a little bit of a pet peeve for that when it comes to the sound. But on top of that, I will say it was a nice nod that they did to Fink. Howard Finkel, they going through the introductions for both guys. They gave it a MSG type of effect, dimming the lights and everything. You got the microphone in the air and everything, and Howard Finkel, you hear his voice on the PA come on, and he's doing the announcement for Randy Orton, and I thought that was brilliant how they did that. That was a nice little touch. Just made me say, miss you, Fink. Made me say that big time. By the way, before we go any further into the show, I just wanted to get this out there as soon as I had heard about it. Definitely rest in peace to the daughter of country music singer Hank Williams Jr. Apparently, I'm not sure how many of you guys had heard about this. I just want to offer my condolences, and you know, we can definitely dive more into it on Monday's show. Hopefully, a little bit more information will be available. But Hank Williams Jr.'s daughter had died in a terrible car crash in Tennessee sometime Saturday night. So I know he has said some things in the past that's been a little bit controversial. That's definitely rubbed some people the wrong way. There's no denying that. I definitely am not denying that. But to hear that, and I believe she was 27, you know, to hear that something so tragic like that has happened, definitely for you big country music fans out there. I personally was never a Hank Williams Jr. fan. I didn't particularly care for his music, but definitely thoughts, prayers, condolences are with him, his friends, family, colleagues. Definitely such tragic to hear. But yeah, the pay-per-view there, amped up crowd there that they had going on, enhanced sound and all that. But getting past that, just going to the match itself, a little bit too long, a little bit too long-winded for my personal taste, but a decent matchup. I would say they told a really good story. I loved how they tried to incorporate. God, what didn't we see in there? We saw Christian's Unprettier. We saw Triple H's pedigree. We saw at one point Edge possibly looking for the sharpshooter, but he ultimately got denied. I love the psychology that was played out with Edge trying to do his best to go for that neck of Edge's. Orton doing that. I love that. That all had played out relatively pretty good. I personally felt closing moments of this matchup. Let's pick it up here. Closing moments of this one. We had saw. I'm not gonna go move for move and all of that good stuff, but Orton pretty much whipped Edge into the corner. Edge hops up to the second rope, dives back towards Orton, but Orton had managed to catch him midair. Did a beautiful sweet ass midair RKO. You'd have thought for sure that was going to be the 1 and the 2 and the 3 right there, but it wasn't. Match had continued. Edge then somehow managed to apply the anti-venom submission. Orton somehow in the process of all of this, because we've seen Edge do that move before and he's been able to pick up a W, but this go round Orton, somehow the referee does not see this. He puts in a sneaky blow to the groin and Orton just pretty much takes advantage of Edge from that point on, hits him with the skull punt, and that's pretty much it. Gets the 1, 2, 3 that way. Afterwards, you see the EMTs. They're coming out. Orton crawls over to Edge's corpse in the middle of the ring. And the camera makes sure they zoom in real close there as we can hear Orton say to Edge, go back home. Go back home to your wife, Beth. Go back to your daughters. Tell them Uncle Randy said hello. And that pretty much was it. But to close out the pay-per-view, just when we thought maybe we were going to see Edge be straddled up on the stretcher, taken to the back and everything, that's actually not what happened. Edge denied EMT's help. He was trying to stand up on his own 2 feet, but instead he just pretty much sat up and was looking a little bit confused, definitely angry. Almost looked as if he had a contemplation of, okay, what's next? And that pretty much had closed out the pay-per-view. Under the circumstances, the fact that, this match could not be done in front of a full crowd, it was still a good match. Under the circumstances, I gotta give both men their respective credits. I love this match more so than what they did at WrestleMania. That's just me personally, to each its own. But for me personally, I love this match more than what they did at WrestleMania. Of course, now the question becomes, okay, so what happens next? Orton just proved to Edge, hey, in a straight up wrestling match, you cannot beat me. You cannot hang with me. However, you can make the argument, well, Orton fucking cheated there. Right, so now it's 1-1 when it's all said and done. Obviously, needs to be a rubber band match. What do we do right here? What do we do? And it's kind of interesting because you see some of the reports that's floating around where it's being said that originally these guys were supposed to be locking it up at SummerSlam, but the powers that be decided, hey, we got so many stars that's out. We really need some star power here on this pay-per-view. And okay, well, let's see if Edge and Orton would be willing to. And assuming that's true, and then the rest is pretty much history, and this is what we had got tonight. Honestly, what I would like to see happen at this point, honestly, I would like to see both of these guys on TV for the next couple of weeks. We got Extreme Rules that's going to be coming up next. That's going to be the next pay-per-view. That's going to be happening on July the 19th. After that, it's NXT Boston, which is going to be on August 22nd. And then from there, the very next night, it's going to be SummerSlam. So, I mean, honestly, what I personally would love to see happen, I would love to see a case come about where both men are off TV for a couple of weeks. And if anything, the very first person that should come back should be Randy Orton. I would love to see Randy Orton come back. And I would love to see him brag on and on about, you know, what he had did to Edge and all of that shit. And look, I'm going to bring this up, and I really hope that WWE strongly considers this. I really, really hope they do. Because if you really want to make this truly interesting, you know there's going to be that tiebreaker match. You know there's going to be a third encounter, and at this point, you might as well play it really smart. Let things go down at SummerSlam with these two guys, because that's one of your big major 4 pay-per-view events and everything. It makes a lot of sense in the world, I think, once Orton comes back, you know, and he's talking shit and everything. Let him talk shit that first go around that he comes back after being gone off television for a couple of weeks. Let him talk mad shit. Let him talk mad shit for like about 2 weeks. Then from there, you can bring out a couple of opponents, you know, over the course of a couple of weeks. Have him beat the shit out of them. But everything sets up Christian. Christian can still go. He's not injured whatsoever. There's nothing wrong with Christian. Christian just is not being used. He's not being used. And I think that's a goddamn travesty when it's all said and done. Because as far as charismatic goes, as far as pretty damn solid in the ring, Christian, I love me some Christian. I'm not going to even fake. I love me some Christian. It's so funny too, because, you know, back in the day, there were many aspects where I felt Christian. At a certain point, when I look at Edge and Christian's career, at certain points, Christian was better than Edge in some areas. And then when you would look at Edge, Edge was better than Christian. It was kind of like, you know, whatever they were kind of lacking, the other one had it, and vice versa. And, you know, Christian, I never truly did understand why things just became so ice cold for him in the WWE. I never did fully understand that. And it still baffles me to this very day. But I would love to see Christian try to defend his friend's, you know, his brother, Edge. I would love to try to see him somehow defend the honor a little bit. You know, try to come to his defense, defend him verbally. Orton delivers a RKO out of nowhere. Christian is spoiling for a fight, you know, very next week or whatever. Basically, the way I'm looking at this, if we can plan this out just right, you got, let me look at this here. So Extreme Rules is on July 19th. Okay, so you can actually do this. You can actually have both guys off TV for a couple of weeks. And then you can have Orton come back first. And, you know, if you do it just right, if you do it in time, then at Extreme Rules, you could have Orton taking on Christian. And ultimately, everything just pretty much sets up Edge, Orton one more time, SummerSlam. Everything pretty much comes back in full circle. Edge comes out victorious in that final encounter, and then you can pretty much, you know, go from there or whatever. But because, you know, my whole thing is, if you were to blow your load at the very next pay-per-view, which is Extreme Rules, which would be kind of silly, I personally think, because then it becomes, well, what are you going to do at SummerSlam? Are you really going to test the fans' patience, you know, and their time, most importantly, do you really want to tempt that by stretching it out going into SummerSlam? You better have some damn good writing. That's the only thing that I'm saying. Hey, look, not for nothing. With Bruce Pritchard back at the helm of things, maybe, just maybe. I'm not going to dive into all of that. We'll talk a lot more about that on Monday's show. But for now, that's all I got to say about Edge and Orton. Let's go on with the rest of the card. And I promise you guys, we're not going to be doing a long-winded pay-per-view post show. I am keeping track of the time here. I actually got loads to do around the house. So, you know, we'll see if we can do about an hour of a post show. And then we'll pretty much be out after that, okay? But I am seeing what you guys are saying in the chat there. So interact amongst yourselves. And most importantly, if you haven't cast your vote about what you thought about tonight's pay-per-view, sound off, let me know. Twitter, youtube.com/the RCWR show. Click on the communities tab and you can cast your vote that way. We also got the Twitter poll up as well. Twitter @the RCWR show. All right, so let's keep rocking and rolling here. So we had the pre-show matchup. Apollo Crews successfully defending the United States Championship against Andrade. Almost 8 minutes of a match. Pretty good matchup. I gotta say, for a pre-show matchup, actually was pretty good. At this point, I actually was watching this via, I guess, Periscope. I guess I was watching it via WWE's Periscope page. Or maybe their Twitter page, whatever you want to call it. A good matchup. Good matchup there. Enjoyed that one. Did not particularly care for the opener of the card, which was Bayley and Sasha Banks defending the women's tag titles in a triple threat match against Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, and the Iconics, Billie Kay, Peyton Royce. Again, this match was about 8 minutes and some change. Did not particularly care for this matchup. Let me explain to you what I felt with regards to this match. I felt that the chemistry between all of these girls was just off. Now, when I say the chemistry, I'm not talking about, you know, amongst each respected duo. The duos are fine themselves. I'm talking about the chemistry when it came time for them to mesh in the ring. I saw a lot of spots that was just, okay, miscues. Okay, that's a miscommunication right there. Okay, that was a bit sloppy right there. It didn't click. It did not click. And anytime I can look at a women's tag match and I can look at Alexa Bliss and say, God damn, well, at least she's trying to go out there and try to do a little something. At least she's fucking trying. And Billie Kay still is Billie Kay. That's not good. That is not good on so many levels. You know, the one thing I said to myself when this match had came up, and I couldn't believe this actually had opened up the pay-per-view. I was quite surprised at that. I thought, if anything, Sheamus and Jeff Hardy should have opened up the pay-per-view. And then you go ahead and go into your women's tag match. But no, they decided they wanted to open up with the women. You know, it is what it is. But I'm glad that it was short of a match as it was. I think the biggest travesty is that this match damn near went 10 minutes when really it should have been just a 5-minute job. Quite honestly, it should have been a 5-minute job. But you know what? Bayley and fucking Sasha Banks, I gotta give them props, man, because they just continue to be the MVPs. They continue to be the glue that makes everything that they're involved in remotely interesting. You know, when it's just them, you're definitely interested, but, you know, take them out of the equation. Okay, Iconics taking on Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. You know, but throw Sasha and Bailey into the mix, and it's well, oh, okay. Not for nothing. Oh, okay. I gotta give them a lot of props because those two girls in that match. I mean, first of all, they were selling like a motherfucker, um, going above and beyond, like a motherfucker. And honestly, if it wasn't for those two, there's no telling how much worse this tag match could have been. So my hat's off definitely to those girls. Look, not for nothing, I'll give her a lot of praise, Peyton Royce. Yeah, I remember previous months. Between the two, Peyton Royce was always, for the most part, the better wrestler. And I can see that she has gotten, I'll give her props. She has gotten better. I'll definitely give her props. But Billie Kay, it's still Billie Kay when it's all said and done. Sheamus, we were just teasing that. Sheamus taking on Jeff Hardy. By the way, star rating system, Apollo Crews taking on Andrade. I'll give that one, pre-show match, I'll give that one a 3. I'll give that one a 3 out of 5. Triple threat match, women's tag titles, I will give that a 3 out of 5. So if we were to look at that from a 10-point scale, right now, those first two matches, I would say Cruz and Andrade, I would probably put that 6 out of 10. Women's tag match, I would probably put that 5 out of 10. Sheamus taking on Jeff Hardy, that match went about 16 minutes. What a one-sided ass-kicking contest this was. I mean, how do you really talk about this match? There's really nothing to say about this match. If I were to, and I'm not cheating anybody that did not see the pay-per-view tonight when I talk about this match, but this was pretty much Sheamus in a ass-kicking contest that was no contest. I mean, Sheamus was just having his way with Jeff Hardy. He was having his way with him. He was having his way with him Monday, Wednesday, Sunday, Thursday, Tuesday, right? I mean, he was just they college. For those of you that went to college, you know how it was with your classes. That's how I was kind of doing it there. No, I mean, he literally was just mopping the floor with his ass. I mean, just beating the bejeebus out of him, and just. You're going, okay, all right. Well, surely Jeff is going to start building up that momentum. Well, what happens when you're playing your WWE 2K game? You usually have a second wind and you're on the flurry of an offense and building that meter, building that momentum up, right? You're building it up and then, all right, here we go. Signature move. Here we go. And you just kept waiting for it. You were waiting for it. And Jeff, buddy, Nero, you gonna do a little something here, buddy? Anytime soon? I mean, it was just an ass kicking. Finally, though, we started to see a little something from Jeff Hardy. I mean, he pretty much. I remember at one point, towards the end of the match, he was able to do the Swanton Bomb. You're going, oh, okay, so this is it. All right, this is it. He's gonna get the 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Sheamus kicks out. You're going, whoa. Okay, so what happens here now? Now, what's Jeff gonna do? Is Jeff gonna have to look for another Swanton Bomb, or is Jeff gonna have to look for another twist of fate? What's Jeff gonna have to do right here to get this match in the books? And we'll never really know because shortly after that, Sheamus took out Jeff Hardy, not with just one bro kick. It was actually 2 bro kicks because the action went outside of the ring. Jeff Hardy jumped up on the wall barrier, was doing his running. I guess he was looking for a spinning heel kick. You know the move that he likes to do when he's running on the wall barrier there, the padded wall area there. Sheamus pretty much met him with a big, strong bro kick. I mean, that shit looked, I loved it. Loved it. Hardy selling the hell out of that. Looked as though ref was about to count to 10 maybe there. He was getting close to it. Action gets back in the ring. Goes a little further. Sheamus connects with another bro kick. Pretty much 1, 2, 3. Middle of the ring. You know, good match. Good match. I mean, but if you really just kind of take a step back a little bit, it was really a one-sided ass kicking. That's what it really, really was here. And I got to tell you, it was nice to look at this and not even think about predictions, because I didn't even offer predictions anywhere, not even on social media. I looked at this and I just said, let's see what happens. You know, I've heard some of my colleagues say the card looks like it's going to be pretty predictable as far as the outcomes. And, you know, my whole thing was, I'm clear-minded. Whatever happens, happens. Let's deal with it. I got to tell you, because I have been watching SmackDown the past couple of weeks here. I've been remembering to record it on the DVR. I got to tell you, I was quite surprised that Jeff Hardy lost. I was quite surprised at that. I thought for sure Hardy was going to get this, and that would be it. He would move on to his next feud, but it would appear him and Sheamus definitely are not done. Has me very curious now what the next chapter is gonna, is gonna unveil for these two in their feud. But you guys doing good so far. If you're enjoying the post show, depending on how you're watching this, if you're watching it on YouTube or you're going to be watching it on Fight TV, make sure you hit the like, thumbs up, all that good stuff. Really helps out, especially if you're checking it out via YouTube. Lets the YouTube algorithm gods know that you're liking what you're liking. Helps them out as far as recommendation to other wrestling fans. Raw Women's Championship match. Asuka taking on Nia Jax. I hate when we get finishes like this. This pretty much ended in a double count out for both of these girls. I know Nia Jax has been making waves earlier this week. I don't really want to get into that right now because I want to just stay focused on just the post show, covering the pay-per-view and everything. I'll get more into Nia Jax on the Monday show. I will say this. I'm happy that Asuka was able to come out of this match in one piece. That much I will say. And it definitely leaves me scratching my head a little bit to see that in storyline, Nia Jax is still in a position where she can make the argument, well, I never was defeated. Asuka, you only still have that women's championship because of the goddamn count out. So I'm a little bit concerned about that. I'm hoping that the way this is looking right now, maybe this is going to morph into a triple threat. I'm hoping that maybe this will eventually go the way of Asuka defending against Nia Jax and Charlotte in a triple threat match. I'm really hoping that's where we're going. Otherwise, I gotta tell you, just the recent developments and everything that's been going on, especially with Nia, I'm just really, really concerned. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Again, I'll talk a lot more about it on Monday. There's a lot I want to say, but we go into a whole different other show here. And this is good brawl. I mean, these girls were just brawling out for most of it. I love the fact that they had Asuka taking the fight right to Nia Jax as soon as the bell rang. I love that. I love seeing that ferociousness. I love seeing that tenacity from the champion. They booked that pretty damn good. Building up Nia Jax in this match, selling her as that juggernaut. I love that story of basically Asuka using her speed to her advantage and doing a head scissors takedown or taking down Nia with an arm drag. I love all of that as far as baseline of the story being Asuka using the speed of hers to her advantage. I love how they had played all of that out. So yeah, the girls, going at it outside of the ring. Asuka had took out Nia Jax with a roundhouse kick. And as all of this is going on and they're fighting outside of the ring, the referee is continuing to count. He finally counts to 10. Asuka comes right in that bad boy. And who knows what Asuka was going to do right then and there had she got into the ring in time. Was she maybe sliding into the ring to break the count, roll back out, continue on the action? What? Who knows? But ref counted 10, declares the match a double count out. So Asuka, clearly, she did not win, but the title did not exchange hands as a result of a count out. So she is still the champion. So obviously these two girls are going to continue on with their feud. I hate when we get fuck finishes like this. That's what I call them. I hate that, because one of the main reasons why you're watching these pay-per-views is to see, decisive winner. Or if you, in the case of Randy Orton doing the whole low blow or whatever, yeah, if you're going to see some shenanigans go down, from somebody, look, they had to do this. They had to stoop to this level to retain their title. See, look, that's a tainted win, but I hate fuck finishes like the one we had there with those two girls. But nonetheless, what they did tonight, pretty good. I say pretty good, but that rating scale, 5 out of 10. So far you're keeping track here. The Sheamus taking on Jeff Hardy. I'll give that a 6 out of 10. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. See, if you're with me so far, it's really no match here that, hey, that's worthy of a 7 or 8, maybe even a 9. Nothing so far. The 2-on-1 handicap match for the Universal Championship as Miz and Morrison took on Braun Strowman. And an interesting stipulation was revealed during the pre-show for this matchup, which was in the event that Miz or Morrison pin or make Braun Strowman submit, then they respectfully would be the sole and new Universal Champion. So no longer was it going to be a case of co-champions. No. Between Miz and Morrison, whichever one of them did the pin or the submission on Braun, they alone were going to be the new Universal Champion. So we did see Miz and Morrison come out. They did show off their new video, their new music video, the hey whatever. I know we got fans that love them some slapstick comedy, love them some yuck, but for me, I cannot get that time back. For me, that was the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen, and it's just a disservice to Miz and Morrison. I can understand, as a product child of the 80s, I can definitely understand and appreciate, okay, let's do a bad, kind of like a 80s, music video or whatever, but, it wasn't cheesy on any level. It wasn't corny on any level. It was just downright bad. To each its own, but I can think of many instances when I was growing up where not every single thing Edge and Christian did back in the day was on fire, but I always admitted, hey, that was quirky as hell, that was cheesy as hell. And what Miz and Morrison had there with their music video, just, yeah, definitely. This match, I mean, come on, did anybody really think that Braun Strowman was going to lose this title? I would be surprised to know somebody actually thought Miz and Morrison were going to walk away with this title. I mean, that's really no surprise. Now, I can tell you, even though I wasn't even thinking about predictions, and I didn't even really know that much about the card until I was watching the pre-show tonight. Like, oh, so this is what's going on. Because remember, I've pretty much been on a mini break here or on vacation from the shows. So yeah, for me, just looking at this, I'm going, nah, there's just really no way. Even if you throw in the Otis effect, nah, it ain't going down tonight. It ain't no weird, new champion. Nothing's going down tonight. This was just, where's Bray Wyatt is my question. Where's Bray Wyatt? Because this run of Braun Strowman as champion, it's not going over well. It's not going over well. It's fucking depressing on so many levels. 3 years too late, as far as I'm concerned. It just feels like Braun is just. Can we call up Bray Wyatt already, or can we call up Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar? Can we do something already? I mean, it just ain't going anywhere. It's just, and that's the sad part when you really stop and you think about it, especially for the SmackDown side of things. I mean, just really stop and think about this. We got Daniel Bryan. We got AJ Styles, who broke some news of his own in storyline on the pay-per-view tonight. We'll talk about that in a hot minute. But you got Daniel Bryan. You got AJ Styles. You got Cesaro. You got Nakamura. You got Drew Gulak. I mean, phenomenal fucking talents there. You got Bray Wyatt. Phenomenal. I still think Baron Corbin pretty damn good in the ring. I've said it on this show repeatedly. They missed the opportunity to pull the trigger on him. It was a great moment. They missed it. It is what it is. I don't really think they can ever get a moment like that again. So, but Baron Corbin, he's pretty good. Baron Corbin, for me, if it was a case where you were to give him the title, my whole thing is the chase is better than the catch. So if you had a really good babyface that was chasing after him for the title, it had to be a pretty good babyface. Maybe if it's Daniel Bryan chasing after him or something, a really good babyface that's going after him. But you got just a big old platter of great talent that's over there on SmackDown. And we got Braun Strowman that's the champion. It's just nothing personal. It's never anything personal. Just, it's not going good, man. It's just not going good with him so far. Very disappointing. AJ Styles, though, apparently, not too much of an announcement that he made. Basically, coming up on this Friday's SmackDown, he's going to have a big old ceremony commemorating the fact that he is the new Intercontinental Champion, and he wants Daniel Bryan to be there personally at ringside to partake in the festivities, if you will. So, see how that plays out. All right, let's keep rocking and rolling here. From that match, we go to our WWE Championship match. Drew McIntyre successfully defending against Bobby Lashley. Oh, by the way, how do I even rate Braun taking on Miz and Morrison? I would have to say 2 out of 10. 2 out of 10. Is that a little harsh? Probably, but 2 out of 10. All right. Drew McIntyre, Lashley. Okay matchup. I would give them probably I'd give them a 6 out of 10. This actually was a good matchup. They went about a little over 13 minutes. Controversy in the end here, though. A little bit of controversy here. So McIntyre, let's pick this up. McIntyre headbutts Lashley, and Lashley accidentally knocks Lana off the apron. Yeah, Lana actually did make a cameo appearance in this match. She was watching from backstage, and she loved everything that she was seeing with Lashley. It looked as though maybe she was starting to warm up to the idea of Lashley being managed by MVP, but she came out because at one point, what should have been a 3 count in her eyes, it looked as though the referee was cheating her husband out of the championship. And so she went to go give him a tongue lashing. And Yeah, you know, while McIntyre and Lashley are doing their thing inside of the ring, Lashley accidentally bumps into Lana, knocks her off the apron. Lashley gets distracted by his actions, and you know, he's looking at Lana because Lana pretty much crashed into MVP. So as Lashley is looking at all of this going on, McIntyre takes advantage of this distracted Lashley, claymores the shit out of him, gets the 3 count, retains the title that way. I love how they had Lashley before the bell even rung. I love how they had him go in there like a freaking beast, and they just had him full Nelson the hell out of McIntyre, and he just has this death grip on him. He got about 3, 4, 5 referees that's coming out. They're trying to break this, and Lashley doesn't. And now, see, this is the thing that I didn't quite understand, and Joe pointed it out too. Lashley eventually lets go of the hold, and Samoa Joe and them, they're going, he chose to let that hold go. You know, he could have kept that hold on as long as he wanted. He chose to let it go. I didn't quite understand that in storyline, because if you got that many guys out there and they're not able to pull you off of McIntyre, then why the hell don't you just keep that bad boy locked in for as long as you want to have that move applied, make a motherfucker eventually pass out, then let his ass go, and then wait in your respected corner, you know, in storyline, and see if they can get Drew to come too, and, you know, if he can, you know, and then you beat the holy shit out of him some more, and, you know, rinse, repeat, get your 1, 2, 3 that way. I thought that part was a little bit weird. Just a little bit. Maybe I'm a bit of a stickler for detail, but I thought that was just a little bit weird how they had that. But in either case, so now you got some controversy right there, at least on the side of Lashley, Lana, MVP. You know, once again, and things have already been a bit heated between MVP and Lana from what we've seen the past couple of weeks. MVP doesn't really appreciate Lana meddling in his business, as he feels that he alone can definitely take Lashley to that next level, and that if Lashley continues to mess around with Lana, you know, he's never really going to get to the promised land of WWE Championship reigns and all that. So now that you've got this big old miscue that's going on here, going into Monday's Raw, what's going to be the fallout? Is the fallout potentially going to be, you know, MVP, you know, having words with Lashley and saying, look, it's either her or me. You know, you got to decide if you're going to just continue to follow a hot piece of ass, or are you going to finally live up to your truest potential, and you know, you're going to do whatever it takes by any means necessary to try to become the next world heavyweight champion. What's up? What are you going to do? So, you know, a lot of interesting developments going in the Raw. I'm sure we'll learn a lot more about what's going on with that particular angle. But yeah, I'm definitely curious. I gotta say, they got my attention. I'm very curious now what's going to be happening, and then what's next for Lashley. You know, is he done? Is he now going back to the back of the line? What's going on with him? What particular is next for McIntyre? You know, who's his next challenger going to be? You know, you can't help but go is Brock Lesnar. You know, maybe kind of lurking around the corner there, possibly. You know, what's going on with that? You know, so a lot of interesting developments there on that side of things. Probably the stupidest fucking moment of the night. And by the way, just to make sure, as far as, I can't believe I'm saying this too, but when I really go back and I look at that match between Drew McIntyre and Lashley, out of the entire card, aside from Orton taking on Edge, I gotta say, this was actually a good match. I will give Lashley and McIntyre a 7 out of 10. A 7 out of 10. I thought it was a good matchup. I honestly did. Probably one of the most stupidest fucking moments of the night. I would have preferred to see The Rock slingshot the hell out of John Cena into the alligator, or whoever it was that kept being fed to the alligator for that new WWE Battlegrounds game. It's coming out this fall. I'd have preferred to see somebody play 15 minutes of that game than this next match. Raw Tag Team Championship, Street Profits taking on the Viking Raiders. Okay, so Street Profits, Viking Raiders, they were brawling in the parking lot before their match for the titles. But they accidentally break Braun Strowman's windshield. They all then flee around to a backstage area to continue their brawl. And it just went stupid from there. Street Profits grabbing golf clubs, Viking Raiders grabbing bowling balls, shields, axes. Oh my God. This was just ninjas popping up on motorcycles. A big black Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, tall-looking motherfucker dressed up as a samurai, busting out a sword as tall as Andre the Giant. What the flying fuck was this? I had no idea what the hell I was watching. Tozawa was fucking in this, and you know what the fuck was going on with him? He looked like he was, you know, you want to talk about stereotype casting? Just I don't know what the fuck I was watching here. I don't know what the fuck I was watching. I don't know what was going on here. I don't know. I'm at a loss for words because I'm just looking at this, and as I'm watching this, I'm saying to myself, realistically, Jesus, I've been a wrestling fan for how many decades now? I've seen a lot of crazy shit. I've seen a lot of crazy shit that, and I've heard writers and even some of the wrestlers themselves that were involved in said segments. Yeah, looking back on it now, that really wasn't the best move. If things could have been different, I would have went in this direction instead, yada, 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 yada. You just had Dash Wilder, Scott Dawson, you know, now they're in AEW, FTR. You just had these guys do a superb interview with Jim Cornette and Brian Last, talking about their time in the WWE. Talk about how Triple H and the other people that were down there in NXT, they fucking believed in them. They gave them nothing but a huge fucking endorsement, gave them that validation that they needed. They move up to the main fucking roster, and fucking old man Vince is the one that basically, he's the one that has the issues with them. He's the one that can't truly see them for what they really are and how to properly utilize them. Going into the whole spiel about, they did in fact tell Vince, hey, we want out of our contracts because we don't like what's going on with the current tag team division. The tag team division has become a joke. And we care about our craft so much. We care about what we do in that ring so much that we just can't take it. It's breaking our hearts to see what's currently going on. We want out. And Vince McMahon is, you know, I understand, you know, I'm sorry you feel that way, blah, 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 you know, trying to pull the Jedi mind trick. Even they brought up the whole Jedi mind trick bullshit. And, you know, Vince is trying to convince them, you know, why they should stay. You know, they got plans for them. There's a championship ring in there for him and all of this other shit. And they're like, you know, we understand, but, you know, long term, okay, great. You're going to give us a championship run, but, you know, what does that really do for us? What does that really do for the tag division in the big scheme of things? I mean, I'll get more into that because I do want to give, you know, praise where it's due for that great interview that they gave and everything. But you are just days removed from this interview where they went on record talking about how they looked at the tag team division as a fucking joke. As a fucking joke. One of the last fucking things that was going on with them in WWE involved Vince and Bruce Pritchard trying to sell them hickory dickory dock. It's time for you to suck my fucking cock gimmick with these big ass Flavor Flav clocks and all this other stupid shit that's going on. Trying to basically devalue them as they're on their way out the door. They call Bruce Pritchard out on the bullshit. Oh, no, it's nothing like that at all. And when they probe Pritchard more, oh, okay, well, you know, what's the biggest grand scheme of this? You know, what's the payoff? And he couldn't fucking explain it. All of these things that's going on, all of these things that they brought up, many points that they brought up in this interview, but the biggest takeaway, the tag team division is a joke. So your days removed off of this. If there was ever a opportunity to, you know, to those guys that's now working for that other promotion, we're sorry that you guys felt the way that you did, but we're going to show you. We're going to show you that had you stuck around, and you know, we're going to make you eat crow. And look, man, Raiders, Street Profits, I got nothing but love for those guys. I got nothing but love for those guys. I'm still a big fan of their work as performers. I in the ring, I am still a big fan of theirs. But man, that broke my heart to see those guys and what they were in tonight. Yeah, sure, they got their TV time. Hey, that helps out their overall profile. That helps out their overall brand. That's great. They got their money. That's great. But man, if you'd have told me in 2020 that's what we were going to be getting tonight, I'm like, wait a minute. Huh? Wait, we're getting what? Why? Who's writing this shit? And unlike some people that'd be so quick to say Russo, I wouldn't even. My question would legitimate: who wrote this shit? Who thought this shit was entertaining? Who thought this shit was funny? Because it wasn't. And before anybody fucking, I always tell you guys, you're gonna act one way, you know, be consistent and everything. Look, not for nothing, I've seen Impact Wrestling a couple of weeks ago. They did something where, and you guys that follow Impact, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They did something where they had a match of the Diener compound. The Diener compound. Yeah, the North. They basically went to the Diener compound or whatever. And you're kind of like, okay, Hardy compound, Diener compound. Okay, whatever. And I gotta tell you, I thought it was entertaining. But at the same time, they did try to give us, you know, a wrestling match. Yeah, they somehow mixed in a wrestling match, mixed in Falls Count. I mean, it's just the way that they went about it. You know, it was remotely entertaining. I still found myself fast forwarding, but I found it to be entertaining. You look at some of the stuff that other wrestling promotions, not many, but that some wrestling promotions are doing right now during these pandemic times, and you're going, okay, well, that wasn't too bad. You're thinking outside of the box. Nothing wrong with that. But what we got tonight was just, whew. I would love to see somebody try to justify what we had got tonight with the Street Profits, Viking Raiders. Try to justify that legitimately, not to be trolling, I would like to see somebody defend what we got tonight. Because that was just god-awfully fucking bad. And I gotta tell you, it honestly made me put my head down. And I actually felt embarrassed. I felt sad for all of those people involved in it. I did. Akira Tozawa, we just saw this guy in the Cruiserweight tournament have some pretty good matches. And now he's involved in this stereotype type of bullshit. Stupid bullshit nonetheless. Sword versus a big old drumstick. Yeah. I don't even know how to rate that. I think I did just rate it. I think I essentially said that was the stupidest fucking thing I ever saw in my life. Yeah. So, if I could give that a 0 out of 10, I would give that a 1 out of 10. So, really, when it's all said and done, going back one more time, anybody that has the WWE Network, maybe you don't have the WWE Network and you're just trying to figure out what key matches you should go out of your way and check out for tonight. Orton Edge, again, a little bit long. A bit long by about 10 minutes, almost 15 minutes, but good match. McIntyre and Lashley. Who would have thought that? Who would have thought? And you know what? It's interesting because I actually remember, fun trivia for you guys. I actually remember when McIntyre faced Lashley last. It was an Impact. And not for nothing, but it actually was a pretty good match. I personally felt. But who would have thought in 2020 these two guys would have a solid matchup? But Orton, Edge, McIntyre, Lashley. Looking at the rest of the card here, I got to give it to Apollo Crews and Andrade. Even though that was pre-show, I got to give it up to them. So overall, scale of 1 to 10, I got to say, I got to give this pay-per-view, a 4 out of 10. A 4 out of 10. Let me know what you guys think. I want to hear from you guys one more time. Let's go to the polls and see what you guys are saying here. So let's go to Twitter first. See what you guys are saying on Twitter here. One more time. All right. So among RCWR followers on Twitter, 31% of you are giving the pay-per-view a thumbs down. Meanwhile, 69% of you are giving it a thumbs up. We also had polled WWE fans that's following WWE on Twitter. Night and day. 20% giving the pay-per-view a thumbs down. Meanwhile, 80% are giving it a thumbs up. Wonder how many of those are just really drinking the Kool-Aid just to be drinking the Kool-Aid there. Interesting. Meanwhile, YouTube. Let's see what you guys are saying in the communities tab here. You can easily find this poll as well on YouTube. Just pick one. Don't spam out. Just pick one and vote that way. We got the poll on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/the RCWR show. Click on the communities tab. 69% of you are giving the pay-per-view a thumbs down. 31% of you are giving it a thumbs up. Hey, let's get into some Patreon shout-outs before we get ready to wrap it up here. I am back from vacation, so there's definitely going to be Patreon content dropping. I got to check with the missus, but we got to review Undertaker, The Last Ride, Chapter 4 for you guys. I'm hoping we can sit down and do a little something Monday, if not before Raw. At some point before I get ready to do the show for you guys Monday night, hopefully we can sit down and record. And remember what I had said for you Patreon members. Remember what I had said on episode 2. And if you listen to the episode, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There was a part where I mentioned pay attention to the year that Vince McMahon and Undertaker would Michelle McCool that Saturday morning when they met McMahon at Stamford, Connecticut to, go over Taker's plans, work out a new deal. I mentioned to you guys, remember that period, because it would be just a couple of years after that shit went down with Taker, Starcast. What happened? I said, I posed the questions, different, scenarios, but I said, what happened? Was there some type of a miscommunication? Was there some type of a fallout? What exactly was going on? And I said to you guys, I'm most curious to see if that was addressed. And I did see that over the weekend that actually was covered in chapter 4. So it's nice to see that so early on, when we got the episode that we had got from episode 2, I said what I said. Yeah, if you guys haven't been checking out the Patreon content, you really should. Patreon.com/RCWR show, $5 a month. Check out bonus audio video content. Shout out to Gino. Shout out to Justin Stock. Shout out to Sean Kenter. Shout out to Michael Wolf. Shout out to John Davis. Also special shout out to Tony Bing Gaming, one of the very latest in all things Marvel Strike Force, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, and Marvel Super War. Tony Bing Gaming, tips, tricks, news, walkthroughs, reviews. Check him out. He's got a Patreon paywall as well. And remember, keep hitting the like button. I can't stress that enough. You're helping out the YouTube algorithm, guys. You're letting them know, hey, wrestling, content-wise, you like wrestling, you will, check this out. This is actually pretty good. Recommend you check it out. Helps everybody out. And subscribe. Definitely subscribe so you don't miss out. I want to give a special shout out to our Fight TV audience, because we are also providing content to our Fight TV audience. I was taking a look at the numbers the other day, and see that's been growing relatively good. Love that. Appreciate our Fight TV audience as always. Love you guys tremendously. So your next edition of the RCWR show is going to be dropping on Monday night, June the 15th, 2020. We'll be coming on live after Raw goes off the air. So join us for that. Going to be a loaded show. Looking forward to that. And in the meantime, follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Please use the keywords, the RCWR show. For those of you that were able to interact live tonight during the show, appreciate that. And please, for those of you in particular that's going to be watching this on demand or listening on the downloads, continue to get at me on social media and let me know what you had thought about the pay-per-view. We'll definitely follow up Monday night, do another revision of the poll that we have out right now, asking you guys about it. But until next go round, I'm wishing all of you all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. See you guys after Monday Night Raw. Take care, everybody. Ciao.